Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Dark Art Society podcast. My name is Chet. I'm your host. Let's see. This week we have an interview with Bronwyn Lorelei. And I wanted to have her on because she has a really unique take on dark art. I think different than what anybody else is doing that I've seen. And yeah, her stuff is very intense, shocking, interesting, and I think it has a valid perspective and point of view. So yeah, and we talked in a Twitter space and she seemed like a really great artist to talk to. So we had a really cool interview. I think you're going to enjoy it. That's coming up. What's been going on here? Well, I've been continuing my new schedule and it's great. I feel so much better already. Yeah, it's so weird to go to bed so early. Really strange, but I do like getting up at 5:30. I feel like I get a lot more done. I don't feel as stressed because when I used to wake up late, it would just be like I'm constantly behind. But anyway, that's been it, really. I'm just taking care of loose ends. This is the year of taking care of loose ends. I know I've said that in past years. This one for sure. I got some more books out today, shipped. Orders have been doing well. Got my tool posters, so I have to organize that. Selling those through my Patreon. What else? Doing some commissions, the usual, nothing really new. I'm just doing all the stuff I need to do, crossing things off my list. Feels good. Let's see what else is happening. That's pretty much it. Let's get on with the new subscribers. Although there's not many new subscribers this week. It's mostly cancellations. I was thinking maybe it's because I've been talking about NFTs, and I know how much people hate NFTs. But then I was thinking maybe it's because of tax time. Oh, I know what I wanted to say before I read the new subscribers. Well, I'll read them now because there's only 2, I think. Otis Chamberlain. Thank you, Otis. And Frau Sacra. Thank you. Yes, Frau Sacra is coming on the show at some point. She does really cool work. So does Otis, I think. Otis Chamberlain does cool stuff also. There's a lot of great artists that support this podcast. I really appreciate that, you guys. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want, send me a message on Patreon and let me know if I can read it on the air, because I've been getting these really, every once in a while I'll get a really amazing private message on Patreon about how much the podcast means to them, and they're a part of the world that isn't into dark art, so it really is important to them. And I just thought it'd be cool to read those on the air. So I don't want to do it without asking those. So if you have sent me a message like that, let me know if I can read it on the air. And if you haven't and you want to, send me a message through the Patreon, and then say that I can read it. And if it's a good, cool message, I'll read it. I thought that could be something fun to do. There's also the Skull Shop promotion. I haven't officially figured it out yet. I haven't had time, but I'm going to promote them anyway. I think his idea was to if people join at the $5 level, then we will once a month pull a name from a hat, and then you'll get the winner will get a free skull from the skull shop. And the skull shop makes the best skulls. All my skulls are from the skull shop. I think I have 3, and they're amazing. So I think it's skullshop.com. It's SKULSHOPPE.com. I think. Oh, it's not coming up. Maybe it's the skull shop. Let's see here. No, that's it. SKULSHOPPE.com. And yeah, they have great stuff. So hopefully we'll be doing this promotion. Maybe I could get that figured. I just have to well, he said he's down to do that. So let's just say, yeah, we're going to do that. I got to remember to do it every week though. So if you join at the $5 level on Patreon, you will get entered. We'll say the first show of the following month, we'll do the drawing. I'll give him the names. Maybe he can do it, or I don't know. We'll figure it out, but you can get a free skull, and they're great. Super realistic. Anyway, so yeah, I guess we started the promotion, the sponsorship. I got another possible sponsorship coming up too, but they haven't gotten back to me about the rates. So that's kind of cool though. Okay. If you want to join at just to support the podcast, you can join for just $1 a month at patreon.com/darkartsociety. And we've got the Discord server and the Facebook group. And you get to feel good about supporting the podcast. And it's cheap. It's very cheap. So I guess that's it. Let's just get on with the interview. It went a little longer than usual, so it's great. It's one of the longer episodes. I always love the longer episodes. So here we go. My interview with Bronwyn Lorelei. Hope you like it. Hi, Bronwyn.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I almost wrote you to cancel because this street, this out across the street, they're tearing the street up for some reason, and it was really loud. So if you hear any weird noises, I just thought I close my window and hope for the best. So I think
if it gets too bad, we can stop.
Yeah. I think it'll be fine. I could always, it's only going to come through on my microphone. So I could always go and edit every 2 seconds when I'm not speaking, but no worries. So yeah, how's it going? I thought, I already asked you how it's going. Okay, here's how we met. You know this, but for the audience, you came on a Twitter Spaces, or a Twitter space, I should say. And I thought you were really interesting and had, a lot to say, and you were articulate. And I was like, oh, she'd be you have crazy dark art that's like dark in a way that most of the dark art isn't dark. You know what I mean? It's very not traditionally when you think dark art, it's not like you're in, you don't have all the dark colors and occult symbols. It's more like these kind of bright colors, and it's really kind of taking what dark art is in a different direction, which I think is really cool. And so anyway, I thought, wow, she'd be a great guest. And I've already heard someone else, one of my students on my Patreon students, I mentioned I was interviewing you. I don't know how it came up, but she was like, oh yeah, she's awesome. Like she was on that Twitter space and she heard you. So
oh, that's really sweet.
She approves.
Well, yeah, thank you. That's I'm excited. I don't do these very often, so I think the Twitter spaces have been like a great way for me to chit chat with folks on the internet. That's a little bit less just groveling on different posts and stuff. Because
Right.
I work from home. Obviously, I'm a full-time artist, and I'm also like extroverted. So it's been kind of a struggle in that way. Like I sort of miss more interacting.
Oh, you're an extroverted artist. Now that is kind of rare too,
Yeah, it is. I can turn it on and off, but I definitely thrive off of like excitement and hustle and bustle and stuff. Like I'd be the perfect person to like live in like one of those sitcom houses where there's just like 20 people. But like in today's, standards, that turns into a commune, which like I would be cool with.
Yeah,
So
no. No communes.
No communes for me.
No, me either. Seems like seems like it's like everyone has this idea, or a lot of people have this idea of communes being like, oh, it'd be so amazing. And it's like, oh, it seems like it would be a nightmare to me. Just like dealing with other people's bullshit and people not wanting to pull their weight and the whole.
Yeah, not to mention like there's almost hundreds of years of like failed cults that started this. Like, what a sweet commune this was. And then it's like someone's a jerk and like really problematic and everyone's dead.
Yeah. There's always one. There's always going to be one. It's just the way reality is set up. There's always going to be one asshole.
I mean, everyone else, there's always going to be one person who's like power hungry and wants to just like shove their dick where it's not needed and stir it around. And it's just like, ew, now it just tastes like your dick water.
That'd be a good band name, Dick Water.
Dick Water, yes.
So so let's go back to the beginning. What's your art history? Were you creating artwork as a child as long back as you could remember, or are you a late bloomer? Because we get different. A lot of people on the show have say they've been drawing as long as they can remember, but there's some that didn't start till like way late in life too. So you never know. I mean,
it's the latter. It's a mixture. I've always been kind of a creative. When I was really young, I really liked to I would just take a sketchbook or a notebook or something, and I would draw kind of like panels in each one, and it would kind of tell a story. Mm-hmm. And even then, they were really dark. Like it would be about, like abusing women, and then like a superhero comes in or some super character and like defeats the bad guy, and I would just draw this out. And I don't have any trauma. I mean, trigger warning for anyone listening. I don't have any trauma, but I was fascinated with like that for some reason. I guess kind of like a fucked up kid, but I've always like thought it was intriguing and awful, obviously awful. And I would write these stories out, like kind of defeating evil for some reason. And I would draw, like I kind of got one anime art book from a library when I was also like really young, like this is before 10, and sort of was like,
uh-oh, we're frozen. There you go.
Are we back? Sorry.
Yeah. So you froze for a second there. That's all right.
And so I was kind of doodling with that, and then so like a lot of kids, my brother got better than me at drawing, and so I stopped. And I kind of like focused my energies on school. And so then I was a really good student, and I took all the AP classes and stuff. And it really wasn't until my senior year of high school, I got back into drawing and art. I embraced it in other ways. Like I liked theater. I was like, I was a bad, I don't know what the word would be, but a level C theater kid. Like I always got like bad roles, but I still was really into it. So like I never got a lead role or something like that. And my teacher always casted me as a man, like every time.
Weird.
I don't know if she like didn't like me.
Yeah, that's like, rough to do to a high school kid.
Yeah, I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I was a very intense, charismatic teenager and child. I was like the type to yell at my teachers because I thought they were dumb, or like I didn't think what they were teaching was legitimate, or I was like, well, how do you know the exact date that this happened? Because did someone like document that right at that moment?
Oh,
or
God.
I was so that annoying kid that was like, I don't trust any of this.
Right.
But then at the same time, I was taking all the AP classes and I was also kind of like a bullshit AP student. I was kind of just in it because the people I was friends with were in them. I wasn't really that smart.
Huh.
But I don't know. Like I said, senior year, I got back into art and took a theater class. I was into art history, stuff like that, and just kind of doodling around. And then I got into collaging after high school. I didn't go to college. I like tried it. I got into film for a while, but I don't know. I'd made like short films and stuff just for fun. And then I started collaging and I got really inspired by like old Playboys and stuff, like using the nudity. And I don't know. I guess I've always been kind of like a shock, like, oh, this is shocking.
Right.
But I was playing around with that in a lot of like National Geographic pictures and the Playboys and making stupid collages. And then I met Nathan, who you actually had on this show.
Yeah.
In
He's
Portland.
great.
Yeah, he's amazing. And when I met him and I actually saw his art, it kind of blew my mind. And he wasn't doing what he's doing now then. He was doing more like figure drawing, but it was just so picturesque and perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I didn't know real art actually existed in real life. Like
Oh, wow.
I was like, what is this? I was 19 and I was just like, what is this? I've only heard about this. I've never witnessed it. And he had a bunch of cool art friends and he like handed me a sketchbook on our like second date and was like, you should draw with me.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, yeah, I should. Cause I've been like tinkering with it for so long, but I didn't really hone in on much. And then I honed in and then I got deep into it and it just kind of became what it is. And I think I just took in all of my inspirations from life and art and, the movies I liked and whatever, nature. And yeah, that just kind of led to where we are now. And I'll be 27 in May. So I've been doing it pretty much. I kind of like leaped into it full time pretty quick because I didn't really have much of direction. And when I was 19, I was like, well, fuck it. What else am I doing? I'm not going to school. So I might as well focus in on this and have this be what I'm driven for. And it's, it's the difficult venture, but it's gotten me quite a few shitty rentals and a pretty good life. I would say I'm like really, really lucky.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. So it sounds like you were always, I don't know, it sounds like you're always I hate the word creative. For some reason that bugs me, calling people when they say creatives. It's like a weird thing I have. It sounds like it's always sounded derogatory to me, but it's not. It's just like a weird thing I have. But you would be, you're just a creative person. So it seems like you were naturally an artist. You just didn't settle on a particular discipline until that age. Because you were trying different things. And I mean, I was involved in the theater, but not as an actor, because I'm like not an extrovert at all. But I would do it because I was doing the prosthetics and stuff. So anytime there was some kind of makeup or a prop, I was able to get involved that way with the drama department. And it's like all the drama kids are just so different. It's like, it's weird because like people are into acting they're artists. It's an art. It is one of the arts, but they're like, people that tend to be into like painting and stuff are like more introverted. So it's a kind of a trip that you can be on either side of that fence and still be an artist, It just,
I liked mock trial too. I feel like people don't give mock trial a very, they don't realize it's also kind of acting and in that similar vein. So totally. I did mock trial and I was really involved kid, I guess, like when I was in high school and stuff. But yeah, I guess I pretty much did everything but an art class, kind of. I had to took a film class and photography. I didn't do photography, but I took a film class, theater, I did all these other like artistic things. I never really had an interest in the art classes.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
I think even then I didn't appreciate the kind of like, this is what you're supposed to do. This is, kind of like rules when it came to art. Because when I took a contemporary art history course, the brief moment I tried taking college courses, it just bugged me. I just felt very limiting. Like, like in that, how do I say, gosh, I can't form a word for it, but art in form of like contemporary art where it's more about like, I can't even think of the word, but
you're talking about what, like contemporary art where it's like a conceptual,
conceptual,
weird...
but more from like an academic standpoint,
right? Yeah,
is what I was trying to say. Yeah, so I took a course for that and was like, no.
That's such a bummer that represents art. It represents modern art, and it's like, none of the artists I know are doing that kind of shit.
Yeah.
How do you even get successful in that scene is what I don't understand. It's like,
you come from money. You're already successful.
It's seriously, you come from money and you go to the right schools and you make the right connections, and that's just more reason why it's bullshit. But we won't get off into that too far.
I don't want to hurt on anyone that's into it too. So it's like, it's not my thing, but
right,
it's cool,
right.
Your thing.
Yeah.
I'm working on this judgment thing. I can be kind of judgmental for someone who doesn't want to be judged. I'm like, right. So judgmental.
Yeah. I've seen some conceptual art I thought was amazing, like as good as any painting, great painting. So it can be done, but I agree. I just, that's a whole other issue. We don't need to get into that. This is about you. So, okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. So how did you wind up doing these kind of painting, drawing? They're so extreme. You mentioned the shock factor, and I wonder if you still feel that that's like a reason you create do some of the subjects you do. Because it's funny, I was talking to another artist friend of mine about your work. It was somebody who was on the Twitter space, and we were talking about your artwork, and his take was really interesting, because he said, I think it's about, because I was asking him, what do you think? Because it's like, it's shocking artwork. You know what I mean? You don't just look at it and go like, oh, okay. It's like, some of the stuff is just like, wow, it's incredibly intense. And he was saying, I think it's like a commentary, and tell me if he's wrong. No, I think it's a commentary on how women are always portrayed a certain way and as kind of objectified, and they have to be beautiful in the artwork, and they're portrayed as like more closer to reality, how we all have these gross things about ourselves, and shitting and sex is kind of gross when you come down to it. And it's like, and he was saying it's sort of taking these subjects that are traditionally, none of that stuff is presented generally in most art, and it seems like you're sort of holding that idea up in your work. So I'm curious how you feel about that interpretation.
I think it's fairly accurate. It's funny when people ask, I'm always kind of like trying to like circle in my brain. I'm like, why do I do this? Because it's not always planned. And I guess like for sure, it comes from like that place, of course, of, we have a male gaze of beauty when it comes to femininity, and kind of trying to, unintentionally trying to just be like, well, no, this is my interpretation. You can't take that away from me. Right. I don't care if it doesn't have like, I don't know if I'm politically thinking of anything necessarily. I'm just like coming from my own experiences. But for me, when I just draw, say, just a figure, I'm like, this is boring. There's so much more going on to that. And I'm very inspired by ecosystems, and, you're talking about how it kind of dark. I like the idea of, I kind of like a story. I like a narrative in the work. So it's sort of like, say the snake is coming out of the figure's butt. To me, it's like, it's not just like, oh my God, it's coming out of the butt. That's so funny. It's like, it's being created inside of the being, coming out of the butt, because it's an orifice to come out of, or if it's coming out of the nipple or the mouth or the nostril or wherever, it's coming out of something, and it's then eating whatever is close by, you know, it's then immediately feeding and eating something that then turns into something else. Like I just like things to morph into life. It's life. Nature is brutal.
Right.
You're talking
Yeah.
about how it's dark and not a dark arts way. Like I'm not necessarily coming from a place of like the occult or demons
Right.
or anything, but more so the brutalities of what's in front of us, you know, that
Right.
we make up all of these images to kind of like understand why things are dark, but you really don't have to make it up. It's right
Right.
there. So it kind of comes from that, but it totally also comes from, like I was saying, I went to art museums a lot as a teenager because I'm from the Bay Area. So I was like always going to San Francisco and going to art museums and stuff. And I was totally a boring straight edge kid. I was like I call it like a Wes Anderson slut. I was just like, got a briefcase and I'm so quirky, and going to art museums. But, you know, sure, I subconsciously probably saw all of these historical paintings depicted of like women's fragileness and
Right.
the virgil beauty of the female form from a male perspective. And I was like, fuck that. I have warts all over me.
Right. Right.
You know, I'm gross. And you said like, I mean, I wasn't thinking this as a kid, but now I'm like, yeah, I mean, sex is awkward. And you really think about it. It's also really funny. So it's like, I think I subconsciously bring in a little level of humor in there without meaning to.
Yeah. There's definitely humor in it.
Yeah, it's just ironic too, because I've had people come up, not come up to me, but some people like at art shows think I was a man if I'm like in the show. That the work that I make is from a man's perspective.
Wow. Huh.
And like, no, it was me. You know, I did that. And
did you ever second guess your doing that kind of artwork? Because I know when I was first starting, I totally was like going, I have to do this, but I feel bad about it. Like I was questioning my motives. Like, am I trying to, because you know, this is back 2000 when there's like no reference point really of why you're doing what you're doing or where to show it. And I kept thinking like, you know, am I taking my own traumas and like making other people disturbed by showing them?
yeah,
But I felt like I have to keep doing it because I know it's the right thing to do. So but you, sounds like you never questioned it. That's good. You're more confident like than I am, I guess.
I mean, I'm a TMI bitch. I'm like, oops, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Right.
I'm constantly making people feel awkward. I have now, as I've gotten a little older and more perspective, I've become like, if I meet someone new and if I talk about like anal fissures in the first 5 minutes and they're cool with it, then maybe we can be friends. Like I just give it all up front. I'm like, I'm not gonna dick around this anymore. Cause I'm just like that. I need the blunt realness pretty quick. But I was thinking too, like I was saying before, I was doing the collage with the Playboys and stuff. And I think that when I transitioned into drawing, I probably just, because I was using those as reference. So it's like I was already seeing like sexual positions and like explicit poses and using that. And maybe I was like, yeah, well, there needs to be more to this. How about you know, and I think it just kind of like it developed on its own organically like that.
Right.
But I also got into figure drawing myself. And I had a lot of like, this is a little TMI and triggering if for anyone, it's about bulimia, if that's okay. But
fine with me.
I was a little bulimic. I wasn't, you know, it wasn't long, but when I was like 17, 18, I had a lot of body issues. And as most people do, I had a lot of body issues. And once I kind of started doing the figure modeling, I would model for figure drawing, like nude modeling. I got so empowered and inspired by like the concept of being turned into art, being drawn. It was not in like anything but like, oh, I'm having this is me deciding that like I want to be shown and I want people to interpret it however they want to. And I just thought it was really, really
awesome. And I pretty much didn't have body issues after that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
That's cool.
which is interesting. It kind of just, once the art came and the figure modeling and stuff, it really did. It just was like, oh, that's gone. I just don't feel self-conscious in that way at all.
Was it hard to do the first time? Was it very difficult?
No, actually, I felt really comfortable.
Huh.
Yeah, I was like, okay, cool. Let's do this. I'm not really that much of I have social anxiety when it comes to, I'll lay awake at night. Like, did I totally just make an ass of myself?
Really? See, this is so weird because it doesn't seem like you would think that at all. Because you talk about your bluntness and you talk about whatever, but then you still.
I can't explain the human brain, There's moments, I think that's part of it, is like, I have this inherent, like, at first I'm like very very blunt and like, yeah. And then then it kind of sinks in later. And I'm like, I think there's two sides of my head. Right. There's one that's like, ah, and there's one that's like, don't do that.
Right.
And they're conflicting sometimes. But I more so just don't want to make people like actually uncomfortable, because I'm actually trying. I do want to be I'm like very tender, kind human, but then I can be very like, ah, and I'm like, I don't know if I like make them upset or
right.
I don't want to do that to people. So there's, a level that I've always tried to balance, and I have not the best at rationality. Is kind of, maybe that's partially to the art, is it's not thought out. It's not something I'm like planning. Anytime I do plan a piece, it never happens.
So you just kind of do it. It's very spontaneous and from your subconscious in a way.
I guess so.
Yeah. It has that feeling. I mean, it definitely has that feeling.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's I mean, I think it's partially too, if I tried a little harder, it could be a little more thought out, and maybe I could get more like technically, I could get more advanced. But there's a level too that I've kind of deemed, I think if my work was too realistic, it would lose some of its, there's a fine line between like the kind of stuff I'm doing where it is kind of like, wow, that's weird. But if it was more like I'm saying, like more realistic,
right? Yeah.
It would actually not necessarily be more disturbing, but it would be
a lot different. It would be a lot different.
Yeah, it would lose a little bit for me. And obviously I love some oil painters that like Gregory Jacobson. I feel like, I don't know if you know his work. I know him. Oh my God. Yeah, he makes some like, I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm on par with that, but he's also got like poop coming out and crazy colors, and he does great work. That's just, you're just like, what the fuck?
I'm looking right now.
Yeah. I actually discovered his work later on.
Oh, wow.
And was like, oh, this guy's really cool.
Yeah. He's like a realism kind of guy though, right? If I'm looking at the right, it's I see one that looks like these organs.
Yeah, that would be
kind of realistic though. But I see what he's great. But I see what you're saying. It's very, to me, it's like all the elements work together to create a specific feeling.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's with my own work. That's one thing I gave up to get technically better, because I was like, I just wanted to be a better painter. And so that meant pre-planning, studies, figuring your colors out, all that stuff. And you do give something up to do that. You give up like spontaneity a little bit. So I see what you're saying. I definitely understand it. And there's like, it's like you just have to weigh which is more important to you, because you can't necessarily have both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to shift. So it's funny. I'm getting into oil painting now and finding that, when you're using a thin pen, it's kind of like the sky's the limit. You're like, I can add
anything to this little drawing because, you know, your canvas is small, but your utensil is small.
Right.
With oil painting, you know, it's like to get some of what I would want to get from one of my illustrations into a painting, it would have to be like huge.
Right.
So I'm finding that I need to shift because I love oil painting. Like as soon as I started doing it, I was like, this is awesome.
It is. It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's the pushing and pulling, and it's like sculpting, and
Mhm.
it does like tickle a certain part of your brain that of course I'm never going to stop illustrating, but I'm excited for the oil painting venture. Just the colors you can get and the buttery softness that you can get out of oil is really it's just really cool. And, you know, acrylic was fine too, but I can't stand acrylic. It just, every time I use it, I like scream at it.
Yeah, it dries too fast for me.
Yeah, it dries too fast, and people that do it and do it beautifully, I'm like, more power to you, but
Yeah.
I'm not there. But
well, the thing about oils is, you know, you may end up having a different style dictated by the medium with oils, you know. I've you know, because I have like I kind of have some different styles when I do pen and ink. I mean, it's like the medium kind of dictates to a certain degree. But I was thinking the other day, especially with these NFTs and these digital 3D animations I did way back in 2004, and they look different from my paintings. It's like you can kind of tell maybe there's a connection, but they are their own style, and I don't want to make them look like my paintings. It's not my goal. It's like the medium, within that medium, I like it to have a certain look, and I like my paintings to look a certain way, and it's cool to have them separate. It's cool to have that. It's okay. You know,
you're an artist. That's, you know, that's one thing that drives me crazy about the social media world of art, like, is this brand. Like, you're branded with this style.
Right.
You're kind of like, oh, I did that, so that's you forever. And I'm personally a little too spontaneous to be like honed in. And of course I do it and I enjoy it for the sake of, like, you know, marketing and making money on it, because you kind of have to, in a way. But I mean, I don't like the whole concept of like everything you do has to look the same as something you did before, and it has to necessarily be recognizable. It's like, if you're a true artist and you're being true to yourself, everything you do is going to look authentic to you, because that's the beauty of it. You're creating something. This is you creating something, not you creating someone else's something. And despite being influenced by other artists, which is inevitable in our world, you know, we're influenced by everything we see. As long as you're still true to whatever nature you have in you, like, the influences you have are going to morph into your own thing anyway.
Right.
So I just think that the internet world, though, can be a little terrible. It can be a little, it's terrible. Yeah. I mean, you just saw too, I was recently banned from Twitter. And,
that was crazy.
I thought it was permanent, because I tried appealing it, and they're like, we're not going to restore your account.
Yeah. Nathan told me about that. You need to give the public service announcement segment of the podcast with explaining what not to do so this doesn't happen to you, because I was surprised, because he told me about the banner and so can you explain that so that other artists don't get scared shitless like I'm sure you did?
Yeah, totally. It's pretty much like, just read their guidelines. And because Twitter is a little bit more, you know, they have crazy stuff on Twitter. You have like someone that like gives himself blowjobs, and that's like the whole account. But
crazy. That's why I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. You can't have it in your banner. You can't have anything explicit whatsoever in your banner or your profile picture. And I believe that even if it's cropped and like underneath is explicit, but you've cropped it in such a way, it counts. So I think I had like this like little sliver, and there was like a head open, and there were like naked babes falling out of it.
Yeah, I didn't even think it was your more shocking work either. I was like, what?
I mean, I honestly at this point see nipples as like censored, because I'm
I guess
but it's not. I have to rethink my thinking. And I like specifically once I got the account back, which I only think I got back because folks on Twitter complained and started a hashtag.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
That's what I was told. So people were making a stink and really upset about it, which I was like, that is just, I mean, I was so touched.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Anyone gave a shit. I was like, oh no, I'm gone and whatever. I'll just fly. I'll just be dust in the wind. But it was really encouraging. And Twitter is a different world with the NFTs, like you kind of touched on. And I'm into NFTs. Disclaimer.
Yeah. You're destroying the world.
I know.
How could you? Unfollowed.
It's like I'm already a Californian. It's like, how many disclaimers do I have to give off before I'm just canceled completely?
Yeah, no, that's how we met, is on an NFT Twitter space. And I'd love to hear you touched on it on the Twitter space, but a lot more people will hear this. So I would love to hear your take on the whole NFT world, because I know it's been like, it's allowed you to, it's been good for you, right? I mean, it's helped you to make a living doing this, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not one of those like extreme, like, Forbes success story with it. Of course, I'm not like ranking in the millions like Beeple or anything, but I mean, I'm not even ranking in the thousands, but it's given me a little more control. Cause like I was saying, I was censored and my account's been like threatened multiple times on Instagram. And I just, once the NFT stuff came along, I was like, wow, cool. This is an opportunity to never have to make a print again, because I hate making prints. And it's sort of, in my sense, it's almost like kind of like doing prints for those who like it. And it's similar to just posting on any social media platform, only like you get paid for it. And the blockchain just is more, at least, for now, it's a little more permanent. It has more organization to it than just like posting these random images to something like Instagram. And like, you don't really know where that image is going to go down the line. Even if they delete your account, you don't really know where those images are. It just, there's a little bit more control over that. And
not to mention they're you're posting for free to make some company money.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what it's all about, If
you're someone that does memes, if you're someone that does photography, if you're someone that does short movies, animations, and you're always just like begging people, like, you can see this if you join my Patreon or any other variety of things that people are trying to be like, you should pay me for this. People don't really do it.
Right.
And those, posting on the blockchain doesn't guarantee, like, if they see it, they can still see it without buying it. But I just feel like there's more of an etiquette so far in the NFT crypto world that's like, I'm gonna support this because I like it.
Yeah.
And it feels more, because every time I mention on my Instagram about my Patreon or something, I get like a patron, and even that I'm like, oh, so grateful, that's so sweet, but it's not enough.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm lucky. We're lucky that we get to do this, of course, and
Absolutely.
I don't take that for granted, and I know the privilege that comes with being an artist, but I like the freedom of it. And also, for now, there's no sense of censoring on the blockchain. And people like to think of like, oh, it's a scam, or they can like sell you all this crazy stuff, and it's like, it is so documented, the crypto world, everything.
They got it backwards. I know, people have
so
it backwards.
You can trace every single step of every single transaction very vividly and publicly. That there really isn't much room for scandal, unfortunately. Sorry to burst the bubble. I'm sure it happens, of course, but it's not as simple and vilified as it really is. As people vilify it, it's not like, I don't think it's like that.
Yeah, no, it's so, the thing I keep saying is it's so big that there's potential for all kinds of good stuff and bad stuff. It's like, it's this huge thing. And and you can make money, which is what brings criminals around, and there are criminals doing and scams and rug pulls and all that, but it's like, no one talks about the traditional finance world. There's criminals and scams, and no one talks about how in the traditional art world there's forgeries and people getting ripped off and money scam. It's like everything people say, they say it like it's exclusive to NFTs, and it's like, no, it's just the same thing, but it's happens because human beings are assholes, so that happens.
Opportunity knocks and there's going to be a creep, like
yeah, exactly. It's just gonna it's like, like I said earlier, it's baked into reality. There's always going to be one asshole coming around. But
it's just ironic to me, like you come from more of the gallery world. Galleries, I don't think that my work really fits into galleries very well, which I'm totally okay with. But I feel like it is ironic how many artists will throw their work at any gallery and feel so excited thinking that this is going to make or break, and give, so willing to give up a 50% commission and frame it and ship it and all of these costs that come into showing in a gallery, and just to trust them to pay them.
Right.
Like I trust this gallery will pay me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're working with, that's where it comes into working with reputable galleries, but not everybody has the opportunity to work with reputable galleries. Some people have to do coffee shops or some new gallery that just opened up that has no record, and that's the only game in town, so they have to,
Yeah, I was just more so pointing out that there's this like innate trust that they're like, but then as soon as like the NFT stuff, they're like, this, I don't trust this.
True. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's just, like I said, it's just kind of an ironic headspace to me that, people are so weary of this. And
so it's not like they're like, I think the NFTs are stupid. It's like, these are fucking the worst things ever to come. They're just, it's like the hate is so,
it's so strong.
It blows my mind. Yesterday I was arguing with a bunch of people on Facebook about it, and I was like, I shouldn't do that. It's pointless. I have to stop. And it's just like, I popped over to Facebook. Ever since I've started this NFT journey, I've been on Twitter because it's like so much cooler. And I every once in a while I check my Facebook, and somehow I got I posted something because I know what it is. I was trying to be helpful, posting a video, a good NFT video that showed the bad and the good sides of it, and I was like, oh, this is well balanced, unlike that one video that the folding whatever, I forget the name of it. It's the 1 2-hour video that just constantly talks shit about NFTs and cherry picks all the worst examples as this is it. This is NFTs.
Yeah, I never saw that.
It's so well produced that I watched it when it first came out, and I was like, oh shit, what if he's right? And then I went and actually looked at all of the footnotes in the, the where he got his sources from, and it's like there was one Guardian article, there was one other legit news source, and then the other ones were like these bloggers on Twitter that all know each other and all talk shit about blockchain and put it on their blogs, and they're considered like these serious researchers or journalists. And it's like even the stories they chose, he chose, it was cherry picked, it was classic, and it's like and it was, so it's like it took a couple days for me to I researched it, and then I was getting involved, and I was like, no, he's describing the worst elements in it and presenting it as the whole thing, and it's totally inaccurate and totally biased, but it seems so good, it looks so good, it's so well produced that everyone's like, well, this is it, that's the truth. No one, I bet you nobody read the fucking footnotes like I did and went and read the articles.
No, people read headlines and they're like, did you see this horrible thing? Or I don't know, avocados are $8 because I read the headline. It's like, did you actually read it?
Right.
Because I still buy $1.50 avocado.
I got an avocado tree, so
there you go. I mean, obviously there's good and bads to most things, and I'm not perfect. I understand that probably my carbon footprint is bad. It's probably average. I'm not vegan.
Right. Right.
Not, I unfortunately get things on Amazon if it's the cheapest option, because like,
Right.
I don't know, I'm broke.
That's
most of the time.
that's the thing. That's the thing. That's what I don't like about it. It's fine to have an opinion. It's fine to not like them even, but I don't like the hubris and the self, like the
Entitled,
the
self-indulgent.
entitled, like, I'm above you, I'm looking down upon you, and you're
Well, that's
so,
the internet. They're just
yeah, I
sitting there
know,
like
it's
eating
bad.
Cheeto puffs and just like typing all of this bullshit. They're just like this small, like, you're stupid. You're like,
And
no, you're stupid.
yeah, and I guarantee it's like I don't really play video games because I just don't have time. But most people play video games. It's huge. It's a thing. Everybody does for the most part, especially and I guarantee you, all the people bitching about NFTs are playing video games, which is way worse than for the environment than blockchain is. It's like it uses so much more energy. It's so anyway. I don't want to go off on a rant, but
No, for sure. I agree. I totally agree. I mean, I've also argued the like, people are like, well, why don't you just, sell prints or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll buy. The waste that comes into producing prints
right.
is also bad
yeah,
for the environment.
yeah. There's no way to get around it.
There's no way. The waste that goes into sending you an original piece, the plastic I have to wrap it in, all of this
Cardboard boxes, the paper, the inks.
It is, and even pens, like most pens are wasteful, most art supplies are wasteful. Right. Everything we do is waste. It's all wasteful.
Yep.
And of course people are honing in on the NFTs because it's like you said, it's cherry picked. It's also like you have to look into who's fueling most of this flame.
Right.
And a lot of it they're finding was like coming from Facebook and the Zuckerberg metaverse shit. Of course, he's not going to benefit from something like this.
Right.
You have like major banks who are like not cool with this. And I'm like, I see all these like punk people I know who are like, fuck the system. And they're like anti-NFT. And I'm like, NFT is anti-big banks.
Totally. NFT is fucking the system. It
is fucking the system.
It's totally a punk rock thing,
The fact that like Elizabeth Warren is always so adamantly trying to like squash it. I'm like,
yeah,
you should be paying attention
to
that.
I know. It's so disappointing to see that. But
yeah. Anyway, we can off of that.
Yeah.
It has its faults, but I think it's cool. And for people to argue like there's no good art on NFTs, I'm like, well then why don't you fucking make some art and put it on NFTs? Like
exactly.
There's so much good stuff. Like
there's so much. I mean, that's why one of the reasons I'm so into it is because I'm constantly getting inspired every day. I keep seeing like, oh my God, this is where all the energy is. This is where all the cool art's being made, is in this space, because people have a reason to make it because they can make a living. And it's so much innovation is happening with digital stuff. It's just like, it's so exciting and so cool.
Well, people who hate Spotify, this is a solution for musicians.
Right.
This is a solution for writers. This is a solution for, like I was saying, filmmakers, short filmmakers, obviously artists, people like visual artists. It is, it's huge. It's huge.
It's paradigm changing. It really is. It
really is. If you really focus on the Bored Ape stuff, then of course you're going to be annoyed.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of annoying. Yeah. There's plenty of annoying shit. There's tons of bad art, terrible art.
Yeah.
Terrible. But there's also the most amazing art, and there's just, I totally agree with you. It's such a huge thing. And the thing is, it's like, you and I know that eventually all those people are going to be over there because it's going to keep going. It's not going to stop. And so, it's funny too, because you're just trying to help them, and people think like, oh, you're trying to get me over because it's part of the Ponzi scheme. You got to bring more people in to make it work. And it's like, don't go then. It's more people to buy my artwork. I don't need you to, I'm not trying to get you over to make money. I'm trying to do you a favor just by letting you know that you're wrong about this. I used to be wrong about it. And then I researched it and I realized I was wrong. So I changed my mind and it's been super cool,
Yeah, for sure. Don't muddy the waters with your negativity, man.
Yeah.
Once you hear.
I
think it's ironic that also people are like, it's a Ponzi scheme. And like Nathan and I would be like, well, I mean, okay, but not really. I don't know. Ponzi scheme is more like it's guaranteed if you put in this and gain on this money. And I feel like everyone who's actually into crypto is like, there's no guarantees.
Right.
Just letting you know, like we don't actually know what's going to happen.
Yeah, there's a gambling aspect to it. They're
it's the same thing that people like go to thrift stores and they now buy this antique looking thing thinking they can go on Etsy and put it on Etsy for 10 times what they just paid for it. You're going to the thrift store and buying all this shit because you saw on Instagram or something that people are making money on this stuff.
Right, exactly.
It's all the same thing. They're just ppicking and choosing what to not like and what to like.
Right.
That's why I don't read the news anymore. I'm like, I don't trust media.
Yeah. Well, the thing I wanted to say was, it was a good point.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. It's my stupid brain. When they lay out all the reasons for it being a Ponzi scheme, it's like, that sounds just like regular money to me. It's like every point they make, it's like, that's the system we're already in actually. But it's okay because you buy into it and it's okay. It's federally insured. That's the difference, which is great. But anyway,
to me, it sounds like the housing market. I'm like, it's same thing as and obviously what we're seeing is someone's controlling this insane property value across the whole country or across the whole world.
Right.
And it's like, oh, if you buy this house, you can flip it for double your money.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it always works out for people.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're like in certain states. But anyway, I don't know if you have any more questions.
No, that's good. That's good on the NFT stuff. But I mean, you're selling okay on there. You're doing, and you're on
not object. So I'm doing the Tezos.
Yeah, which also has a really low carbon footprint, right?
Yeah, it's the most, they say it's like the most eco-friendly.
Yeah,
or like green NFT.
Yeah, green NFTs or clean NFTs. Oh, look at the pop.
Yeah, it's chicken.
That's a sweet dog.
We actually found her when COVID hit. I found her behind a dumpster, and it took like a Popeyes dumpster, and it took forever to get her out. She was stuck, and the Popeyes people came and yelled at us like, "That dog lives there. Leave it alone." And I'm like, it's like injured or something. I don't know. And she was a puppy, and she had this crazy necklace thing really tight on her neck. And anyway, we took her and took her home, and now she's mine.
Yeah, she looks very happy.
She's very sweet. Jump up.
So, okay, so we didn't get to you say you're from Northern California, from San Francisco?
Yeah, I'm from Sonoma, wine country.
Oh, okay. And then how did you wind up? You're in Philly now?
I'm in New Orleans.
You're in New Orleans. When did this happen? I thought you were part of like the Philly crew.
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, when COVID hit, we lived in Philly, and we thought, I guess part of the Ponzi scheme of the housing market, we thought that we could go jump in and get a house for, lower interest rates. Because when COVID hit, everyone was freaking out.
Right.
So we bailed to where Nathan's from. He's from Spokane, Washington, and we were hoping to get a house. It didn't work out, obviously, and so we just kind of stayed there for a while with his family, and that didn't last long. And we left and stayed with my parents for a second, and we're just like, we went through most of COVID was just awful for us. We were like houseless. We weren't houseless. We always had somewhere to crash, but like we didn't have our own home.
Oh my God.
We were living out of our, like all of our stuff was like in our van or just like all over the place, or in like a storage unit in Idaho, which I still have like a storage unit in Idaho. It's just, since COVID hit, we pretty much like left Philly thinking we were going to be able to build and just kind of hide away.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it didn't work out, which is, it is what it is. But yeah, now we're in New Orleans. My aunt lives here. And that's where we are for now. I mean, but now we're getting hit by tornadoes here, though. We actually had a really bad tornado last week that devastated the neighborhood really close to where we live. So that's gotten me a little shook. I'm like, I don't know if I can. We were here for Ida too. Like, we finally got our space, and then last year Hurricane Ida hit. We had to evacuate for a month, and
oh my God,
it's just been bananas. We have really been through it, and because like, yeah, before Philly we lived in Detroit, and before Detroit we met in Portland. So
wow,
we're just really trying to we're just trying to keep the dream alive of being full-time artists and fight the gentrification and all of these crazy prices going up everywhere and inflation. And we're just like, we just want to make stupid art. Like, I don't know. Can't we just do that? And we live really frugally. We're really not that materialistic. We don't really spend much money. We're just always trying to just make sure that we can keep the dream alive. And even New Orleans, we can't really afford anymore if we didn't live in this house. Like, we have an amazing landlord who's just like a sweetheart. He's completely changed my views of landlords.
Oh, good.
So, yeah. But yeah, I don't know if New Orleans will last too long.
So you're still not quite sure you're settled? You're kind of, sounds like you guys are looking for a place to settle though. And
yeah, we're hoping to buy something. It just kind of seems to be the way. I recently applied to an apartment. I wanted to move and they denied me. And it just felt very like, it was like, obviously it's like, it happens to everyone, but I was like, oh shit, since COVID, the applications just seem much more like bank loan applications for rentals. It's like, I was like, I look crap on paper. I try and I'm like I try to use like street cred all the time. I'm like, I don't know if you've seen this Buzzo video of him trying to buy a house in Beverly Hills with street cred. It's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah. I always feel like that. I'm just like, I'm, really cool. And, this guy vouches for me, and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, what? But yeah, so long story short, we have not settled. And at this point, I don't know where we're going to go. I'm kind of over cities just because they just keep seeming to get there and then they blow up and then they're more expensive. And it's just a lot. I mean, it's hard to complain about it because I'm like, I work for myself and I get to make this really bizarre art that's like being banned on the internet every other day for a living, which is just really amazing. But then at the same time, I'm like, I just want stability.
Right. Yeah. It's a rough life. It's not easy. But you could but you like people though. That's the problem. You like going out and having a social life. That's the problem.
I don't go out. I don't go out here.
Oh, really? Because I was going to say, why don't you just move out in the boonies somewhere, like really far away? Because that'd be cheap. I mean, I would, if I didn't have family, my wife and I probably would sell our house and do that. I got granddaughters and they're too cool. I could never be away from them. So,
I hear ya. No, it breaks my heart. My whole family is in Sonoma County for the most part. And, I wish I could live close. I'm very, very with my folks.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's so expensive. Expensive.
Oh my God.
Ridiculous.
My stepmom's like, well, what if I found you a cheap rental with a yard for the dogs in Sonoma? And I'm like,
$2,500.
Good luck.
Yeah.
They don't own either. They haven't, so, and we're all like we've all been born and raised in California, and we're like those people being pushed out.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I was born in San Diego, actually.
Oh.
And then we shifted up north.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah. I'm from there. That's where I'm from.
How does your family like your artwork?
They're so supportive.
That's cool.
Yeah. My dad has one of my pieces framed in it, and they actually have a few of my pieces in the house, and they've even bought some from my store when they see one they like.
That's
here and
cool.
there. And yeah, they're really, really, I'm so beyond lucky to have them. I was kind of raised without religion. They're very like, my dad's sort of a spiritual type, I would say. And my mom's kind of a Wiccan type.
Oh,
they're divorced, and then my stepmom came in the picture, and she's just like kind of a wild card. She kind of likes anything from bits and pieces. So I kind of come from like just bits and pieces of life. There was no like
right,
hard truth to anything.
right.
And I actually was raised by a single dad for most of my life.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and my mom, I flip back and forth, but I was primarily with my dad and my brother. So it's kind of a funny. It's actually kind of rare to be raised by
Yeah.
a single dad, and we watched a lot of kung fu movies. It was always something he wanted to watch. So like any action movie, we always stood in line to see like the new Lord of the Rings movie or the new Spider-Man movie or Batman or
Right.
any of the kind of nerdy stuff. He worked at a comic book store for a while when I was a kid too. So I kind of feel like I was always just around this kind of alternative life.
Yeah.
That really isn't surprising to me that I don't use my credit card. I'm like
Right.
just not real person in that kind of sense.
He sounds like a cool guy to me.
Yeah, he's the best. He's definitely my superhero. And yeah, they were like super Tool fans. And I grew up with the Tool stuff.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, the fact that we got to go see Tool recently when they were in New Orleans, and we got to sit so close. Adam got us in, and I was just like freaking out the whole time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
So,
all. Oh, you did you get in because Nathan did a poster?
yeah, Nathan did a poster, and actually Adam bought some stuff from me
Oh,
last
great.
year, and then commissioned me to do a piece for his wife this year also.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I haven't met him, but we've chatted a little on Instagram, and he just seems like he's one of the only people who's like that famous who's like supporting art as much as
Yeah.
he is. So
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. And obviously all of the Tool band seems very supportive of the art. So that's pretty amazing.
Definitely. Yeah. Oh, cool. That's awesome. That's funny.
Yeah, we were hoping. I was like bummed we didn't get to chat and see them in person, but with the COVID stuff, it was like they're like, we have
Yeah.
sniffing dogs, like we can't do anything.
Right. Yeah, that must have been. I was just saying, I think a few podcasts ago about how COVID, because like, I'm old, I got a house. I got it before everything went crazy in
Yeah.
2000. I bought 2001. We bought our house. And at that time we could barely afford it. And
Yeah.
now there's no way we would be able to afford this house. No fucking way. But what the hell was I gonna say? What did you just say? What were we just talking about? I just blanked.
Tool.
Yeah, Tool. COVID. And so yeah. And so I've the whole time during COVID, I was like, I feel bad saying it, but it was like, this is totally normal for me. I never leave. I'm always working. This is what I like. I'm not like a social person at all. I mean, I'm more like, have individual friends, but as far as going out to shows, I enjoy it, but it's work for me to be to talk to people and be extroverted. It's like, it takes effort. It's not my natural state. And I was thinking how, like, COVID was fine for me, but then I was thinking all the people that like that sort of thing, it must be horrible for them. It must have been horrible for people who like to go out. I never really even I was always like, what's everyone so upset about? You just get to, get to stay at home and chill. It's great. Watch movies, make you whatever you want. But yeah, there's so many people that just aren't like that like interacting in crowds. And it must have been horrible, because you seem like that kind of person. You like to go out. And
that's funny. I need to create my own version of what how of an extrovert I am.
Okay.
I do not like going out. I do not like big concerts typically. I don't like bars typically.
Okay.
I don't like small talk. I don't like mingling, stuff like that. Like, I love my people, of course, and I love to see them, and I can be really, like, I'll karaoke and I'll streak, I'll do crazy shit like that, like with my people and stuff. But since COVID too, especially, I've gotten so much more exhausted with the concept of making new friends, which is such a bummer for me, living somewhere I don't know a lot of people and moving around so much. Like, if I'd stayed in Philly, I had more of a network there that felt a little bit more
comfortable. Now I'm like, God, I don't even want to try anymore to try and make friends. I'm so exhausted just the mere thought of talking to new people. And it's a lot with the COVID stuff. It's like you're talking face to face with someone. Are you going to get COVID? And I know that now it's not
Right.
as, but I'm still like, I never got it. I don't want to get it.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I've tried really hard to not get sick. And, you know, sometimes I've had close calls where I was like, I was way too close to a bunch of people. I was
Yep.
not paying attention. And then it was fine, which I'm like really lucky. Not that I think there's a lot of people who've gotten COVID who are fine.
Right.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
So,
No.
I've been extra careful, even still, I don't really do much. And I definitely think that's partially why I don't think I'll be staying here, is that I don't have like a huge network of like my people. And unfortunately, like most people, my people are all over the place. So there's no real place to hone in and be there. But I'm the kind of extrovert that likes talking. I actually love like customer service, which is really bizarre. Like I worked at a job where we lived in Idaho during COVID. And I was just like, I just need to get out, because we were living in the suburbs and like all of our neighbors were cops. And I was like,
Oh my God.
It was so weird. I like now know what it feels like to be like an alternative punk kid in like the suburbs of Idaho.
Right.
And it's like, sorry to those people who have to grow up like that. But yeah, I got a job at a thrift store when I was living in Idaho. And despite like the political stuff, sometimes I'd get in trouble because I'd be like, you have to wear a mask. And they're like, I can sue you for that. And I'm like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Then my boss would be like, just let them in. I'm like, you're undermining my authority. But I would have so much fun just like blah, blah, blah. And like picking out clothes for people and like trying to figure out what they wanted. And
yeah, my wife worked at a thrift store for years until it closed down. She loved it. She loved
it's really fun.
seeing the new stuff that would come in and trying to see what's the good stuff. And then she's very sociable, you know, so she'll talk to people and she enjoys that too.
Yeah. I think I enjoy new people who have no strings attached more than I like making new friends.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, cool, I don't have to try at all.
Right. There's
no pressure. We don't have to like
yeah, I guess that's what really makes it uncomfortable, is when there's pressure of some sort, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky that I've been in a relationship for over 7 years, because I would be lost on dating.
All right. Yeah. I've been married for like over 30 years, so
there you go.
I'm with you. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't. That sounds horrible to me nowadays. But yeah, you
even
know,
art shows, like I would go to art shows. I would be really, because I don't know if most people are like this. I kind of hate my art, which is so funny that.
Okay.
I hate it. I mean, I thought
you
like
can't
some
hate
of them,
it. You
but
can't.
some of them I like, but I'm embarrassed if I ever show in a gallery.
So
I'm like, this is crap. This is like, I don't want to be here.
Okay. Okay, then why do you do it? Is it that you're trying to do something and then you don't hit what you want to hit and then you hate it? Or are you doing it and you just hate it because you did it? Or
I love to make it.
Okay. You love, yeah, okay.
I love the act of
the process. That's how I am too.
Yeah, I love the process. And I don't even necessarily mind the result. And necessarily, I get really uncomfortable, and I don't mind showing my presence on the internet where it's so like, okay, I don't have, you don't really know me. But as soon as I'm in a gallery setting and I have a piece on the wall or something, I will like almost deny it's mine.
So
I'm
it's
like, no.
So it's like that. Maybe it's like a vulnerability thing.
Maybe
in public, you know, like you don't like exposing that part of yourself to strangers in a setting where you have to deal with them, maybe.
And it's not because I'm embarrassed of the content. I think it really is like what I was talking about before, is I feel a little embarrassed at my, I don't know how to say it. I wish it was more, I was saying before, like how I feel like if it was more realistic, or if it was a different it would lose something, but I also kind of wish it was better quality,
Right.
I guess
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but
And I'm embarrassed of that.
yeah, but the thing is, the way I see it is, like I said, it's like, part of the charm. It's part of what makes the work, I think, is it's like kind of coming from like a naive feel in that way.
I can see that. Yeah.
And but the thing, but I don't know. And you're artists are our own worst critics, but again, that contributes to the success of the pieces, I think. And that's not to say, if you want to be like technically better, that you won't be technically better, and then also it'll be a new thing, or it'll be the thing you're doing but you're happier with it, but whatever. But I don't know, to me it's sort of like, I don't know, real artists work with what they have and organize it in a way that makes good art.
Yeah, and I agree with that, which it's funny because a lot of the art I love has that, like you said, kind of naive, almost childlike aspect to it, where it's just so pure.
You're right.
And it's just like, it's just like throw up on a page.
Right.
So of course it's stained. It's a throw up. But then when it comes to me, like I can have like bits of perfectionism just sneak in. I don't know, man. My brain is so all over the place where 1 minute I'll feel one way and another minute I'll feel another. And I should probably see somebody because they'll probably diagnose me with something. And like, you have something. I don't know what it is.
Everybody's got something.
Yeah, 1 minute I feel one way, and then like there's something in my brain that switches something. It's like now I feel completely different about everything I've ever done at all. I battle a lot with wishing I hadn't done all this.
What do you mean?
Because wishing I had been like, when I was that young, I instead was like, I'm gonna go to school and become like a psychiatrist, and I'm not going to be covered in tattoos, and I'm going to be a normal part of society that doesn't, shake the boat. Or I just wish I had done something more conservative. And I don't know, because it's like, I'm so not conservative. And then like, I wish I had done something more conservative with my life. And maybe it's partially, I'm a very regretful person. So as soon as I make a choice, I'm like, but what if I had done something else? What would happen? What would be that? And I'm a big what if type being. My brain is always like, oh, and I suffer crazy amounts of anxiety, which I think plays a big part in a lot of the work also. I'm like I'm a very anxious human. I always have been. They used to call me a worrywart as a kid. And it wasn't until I was literally like 19, I learned I was anxious. Like, you have anxiety. I was like, I didn't even know what the word was until I was that old.
I thought everybody was like that.
Yeah, I was always anxious. There was a moment where I had this locket as a kid, and it had my mom's picture in it. She had given it to me, and I was convinced that when it was off, she got hurt. So like I was in charge, like I was the protector of her.
That sounds like OCD. Do you have OCD?
Maybe it could be OCD. I should probably get diagnosed.
Yeah, that sounds like that's like kind of classic OCD, because I have OCD. Yeah. It's like, or I got diagnosed like in the 90s, and I went to therapy for it, and it's like, it's fine now. It's not an issue. It's like, now it's just a weird thing. Like if I scratch one side of my arm, I have to scratch the other side. It's like weird things but they don't affect my life negatively like they were. But yeah, that sounds like OCD to me. Totally.
Well, one day I lost it in the field during recess, and I had a complete mental breakdown. I think I was in like 2nd grade.
Wow.
And I made my entire class and teacher search for it in this giant field.
Oh my God. Wow.
Because I was convinced that like my mom was dying because I didn't have this locket on.
Oh, that's terrible.
Stuff like that. Like I always had little anxieties like that. And I kind of obviously I have more reason now because I'm, adult, but not much more.
Adulthood is enough to give you anxiety.
Yeah. I've had people though see my art. Like my brother is really sweet. He's also really supportive and says just like really sweet things. I told him I got banned from Twitter. He was like, what? But your art's expressive. It's not explicit. And I'm like, that's a cute thing to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'll say things like, I totally see how your art is formed from our childhood, just from, watching a lot of Henson movies and and I was obsessed with Labyrinth and Miyazaki. Like my dad totally was a big fan of Miyazaki, so we did watch a lot of Miyazaki, and we didn't watch a lot of Disney movies or anything. We didn't watch a lot of, again, it was stuff that he wanted to watch too.
Right.
So, like pretty good stuff I still watch.
Yeah. Good curated stuff.
But my brother always says like, I totally see aspects of, obviously not like the sexual nature, but some of the like ways I draw, I guess he says like he sees characters and he's like, I get it from like whatever. And I think that's sweet. But
yeah, well, it sounds like you have a really supportive family.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's pretty amazing.
That's huge.
It is huge. I don't know. They're like my best friends, so that's why it's so hard to not live close.
Yeah. Have you ever tried meditating? It helps with anxiety, but you have to do it.
No, I've tried it, and the whole time I'm just, I'm thinking about.
Yeah, that's
done.
That's everybody. That's how it is. Yeah, everybody. That's what people say. It's like, and I can't talk because I was like, knew I should meditate from probably 19 years old, and it took me, and I always did it, but I didn't do it consistently, so it really didn't do its job. Only until like 5 years ago I started finally like, okay, fuck, I can make myself do this 20 minutes a day every day. It's not that hard. So I just made myself do it, and it really is like a huge thing. It really is huge for anxiety. But that's the thing. Everyone says I can't do it because I just think it's like, yeah, that's the problem. That's why we have to do it, because we've got that inner chatter going on. So it's like, if you decide to do it, I'm just saying, if you decide to do it, you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And every time you catch yourself thinking, you go, okay. And then you focus back on your breath again. Okay, I'm thinking. And then you go back to you're just focusing on the breath. That's all it is. And then you'll start thinking again. And then you'll just bring yourself back. And the thing is, the longer you do it consistently, the less that happens. So to a point where you can sit down and then you could make your mind blank.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a trip. It's weird to have a blank mind. Let me tell you, it's because you're conscious and aware of it.
Yeah.
But just to have that control over your mind is like really helpful for anxiety and stuff, because it's like my mind's everybody's mind is like that. That's the thing, especially in the modern world.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. My spiraling is my meal ticket. So I don't know. I can't be too healthy.
Well, I don't know. I still paint the crazy shit I do, and I meditate.
That's true. I should meditate, and
it's hard. It's a discipline. It's hard to do, but it's hard just because it's boring, and your mind goes crazy. But it's like, it's like eating your vegetables. It's good for you.
Yeah. All right. I'll try it. I'll try 20 minutes meditating.
If you can do it every day, you can even start at 10 minutes. If you do it every day, this is just the dad in me talking. That's why. If you do it every day, try and do it for like a week. If you can do it every day for a week, and then try and just do it another day and try and add like that, because it doesn't work if you don't do it every day, basically. Yeah. You can take weekends off maybe, but that's the key, is you have to do it every day.
Okay. I'll try it. I'll see if
as someone with anxiety, I know that it helps a lot. So that's why I bring it up.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's very sweet.
No problem. So what's been your experience with the gallery scene? I mean, have you shown in a lot of gallery? I mean, it sounds like I know you've shown in galleries, because you used to be part of the Philly scene. And
I've shown in some galleries. In Arch Enemy, I showed a couple times, but some of their small work shows. I showed at Dark Arts Emporium a couple times now.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
actually
them.
I'm gonna do their Tiny Terrors.
Oh, great.
I'll have
Yeah.
a couple pieces at least for that.
They're into NFTs too. They're good.
Yeah,
They're cool with NFTs.
yeah, they're cool. They're
Yeah.
super sweet. I've actually never been to the gallery, which is funny. You keep saying I met me in you've met me in person.
Really?
Once.
When?
Yeah.
Where?
At Copro
When?
Gallery in 2018. I was with Nathan and we went show. It was during the summer. Nathan had pieces at Lalou's.
Right.
He had an opening at Lalou's. And so we went for that, and we went to a Copro opening. And
okay, that's probably why you looked familiar.
I think we're even in a big group picture together.
Okay, but we didn't like chat or anything, right?
No, I'm pretty sure we were just like, I think like Nathan maybe said hi, and then I was hi.
Yeah.
It was
okay.
like a conversation.
I do remember that now. I faintly remember it now. So sorry about that. But yeah, that was the first. That was the first time we talked. That was on the Twitter.
Yeah,
site,
now
so.
we know each other. That was I feel like you probably get that all the time. Like, actually, I saw you with this art gallery.
I do, because I have a terrible memory.
I mean, I don't know how you're so in and connected with the whole scene. Like, of course, you see people, or people see you and are like, that's Chet. Like, you're famous. People see you're recognizable. So, I mean, it makes sense. I'm just a geek that was like, remember you met me?
I do remember now that you mentioned it. My brain is mush. It's
I'm not offended.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
So
galleries.
Yeah.
Those galleries.
So you got to go, if you get a chance, you got to go to Dark Art Emporium. It is so fucking cool the way they have it. Oh, I haven't been to the new one, but the last one, I'm sure because they moved, I think, around the corner, and now they have like a pizza place out front. It's like combination pizza place in the gallery in the back. But man, the way they had it before, it was, it looked like the Haunted Mansion. It was so cool inside. It was really, really cool, and really nice people too.
Well, I know Rachel Bridge is a good friend of mine. She shows with them a lot and had a solo show, I think, recently, last summer.
I'm showing
last spring.
I'm showing with her at Copro in October.
That's right. Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah,
she's amazing. I listened to her podcast episode with you.
Yeah,
she's her oil painting. Like, oh, you're just another level.
I know, it kills me.
But you have to take into account too, she paints all the time. Her discipline is so there. The course for art is so good because like she's so attentive to it.
That's what it takes,
it's what it takes.
Takes that kind of obsession and repetition, Yeah,
she's definitely kicking ass. And and then my friend Michelle also, Velvet Mush.
No.
She's another her paintings are amazing. You should look her up. She's a watercolorist. She falls into the dark art, I think. But she's also shown there, and I don't know if she's shown at Copper, but I know she's showed at Dark Arts, but she's a Philly person too. I when I was in the Philly crowd, I more so went to shows that all of my friends were in, but I never really showed.
She's great.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really good. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I have really no real gallery experience, to be honest. I would love it if someone was like, let's do a thing.
Right.
But only if they would be cool with large scale, because I don't really see the point in some of my smaller stuff in galleries. And also because I sell everything myself, I'm like,
Yeah. I know from experience that generally, galleries, they want larger pieces so they could sell them for more, especially if your prices are not super high.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm very cheap. I'm a very cheap artist. Very inexpensive. So
that's how I started off, very cheap.
Yeah. I don't have that. I'm not offended either by it. to split a 50% commission with me is just not worth it, unless someone wanted to do like a huge show where they're like, do you want to put in 20 8.5 by 11s or 9 by 12 drawing? Like maybe, but that.
Yeah, that's I remember Gary telling me about, Naoto Hattori.
No.
He's a Japanese artist, really cool. Does super tight, small 5 by 7, like small pieces generally.
Yeah.
And I remember, hopefully this is okay to talk. Yeah, it was 10, 15 years ago. He was talking about how he did 30 5 by 7s, I think, and sold them for like $1,000 a piece.
Wow.
And it was like $30,000 sold out show. That's pretty good.
Great.
So it's kind of a smaller art sells easier is the thing. It's just hard to charge more for it.
Well, people have small houses. People's houses are smaller and smaller.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like the tattoo craze for my generation is a big result of the fact that none of my millennial friends can own homes.
Right.
Like, why would you buy any art to haul around? Like, I've bought so much stuff from friends and whatever. And I'm like, I just have to hope it doesn't get destroyed every time I move.
Right. And that brings us back to the NFT, another benefit of NFTs.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad. Like, I wish I could have a mansion full of my friends and favorite art, because I love art. Mm-hmm. And I wish that more galleries showed the galleries are great. I really do love going to gallery openings and stuff, but the COVID world has made it, for me, I'm more awkward about it. Mm-hmm. I've also Mortal Machine here in New Orleans I showed with, but only one show, and it kind of brought me here. And Mortal Machine's pretty rad too.
I never heard of them.
Yeah, they're a cool gallery here.
That's cool.
They're a very fast-paced gallery, because they're in the French Quarter, which I don't know if you've ever been to New Orleans, but New Orleans, it's bananas here.
I've heard that.
Yeah, it's very wild. I'm not that wild, so it doesn't suit me necessarily, but it is definitely worth experiencing. It's not something I would want to experience like during COVID though, so I'm never out, which is a big reason why I don't go out, is just COVID. But anyway, yeah, they're in the French Quarter, so there's a lot of turnover and a lot of
they got a lot of great artists show there.
Yeah, they're really cool, and then they have like 2 shows a month or something. Like they have a lot going on, because like I said, where they are is so fast paced that it kind of calls for it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're pretty rad.
I think my kid was just in New Orleans because he's drumming for the English Beat.
Oh, that's cool.
The English Beat. Yeah, he's on tour with them right now.
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans is a great place for live music.
Yeah. Everyone who I know who's gone there says it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's also beautiful, and it's bizarre, and there's nowhere else like it I've ever been.
Yeah. So
it's definitely unique. I've been many places. I've lived in Sweden.
Really?
Yeah. I've been a lot of places, and out of all of them, like, New Orleans is definitely the most like, what the fuck? So I mean, that's cool.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, not to bring, I hate to bring the NFT thing back, but it's like, it's so kind of perfect for you, it seems like, with your current lifestyle. And it's just like there's so much more opportunity there for artists to stand out, and especially someone with a really strong point of view like yourself. It's like there's more opportunities than the traditional fine art world. I hate to be like that guy that keeps talking about him, but it's like I keep telling artists, it's like, I know, because I've known people who have struggled for years to get a foothold that are really good, but it's hard to get in the gallery scene, or even get a name for yourself online, just selling yourself. It's hard.
It's super hard. And like, I feel like I was trying to say too, with the Instagram, I've been on Instagram for the duration of my, time as a full-time artist, has been selling through my own website that I navigate through Instagram. And it's gotten really oversaturated, and the reach is really bad. And as someone who gets shadow banned and censored and removed and threatens their account all the time. Like I really have like that my reach is like really horrible now over there. And you really see that there's this sense of control that Instagram world seems to be gravitating towards, these like, I don't know, themes that everyone's kind of following, trends everyone's trying to kind of follow. And it feels like I was saying, it feels more saturated, feels very like manipulated. And I understand people are just like, people need to make money. So of course they're gonna like follow suit because everyone's desperate. I totally, you know, it's like you can't really blame people for needing some additional funds. So
yeah.
But for me, like I don't have it in me to like, you know,
Do the ladies dance craze.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
you
add
and Nathan.
I'm not gonna add cowboy hats. It's not me. Like it's cool that you do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
You know, and again, coming from like you were saying, like I'm, you know, I have a big point of view. I'm kind of a bold person. My personality is very like hit or miss if people like it or not. Which I don't know, but it's fine. On Instagram now, it feels like being innovative is almost like not, especially someone like me that's expressing sexuality from a female or even like more gender fluid standpoint. It's much more challenged there because the rhetoric has shifted, even though it's becoming really common to kind of fight the male gaze of sexuality. It's still not being done necessarily in the sense that I'm doing it. It still feels very kind of like in a box. Like people are like, well, fine, I'll go in this box, even though it's a different box than we're used to. It's still a box.
Right.
And I feel like on the Twitter front, you know, it's like you can navigate it to kind of find yourself a little bit more. There's a little more innovative nature happening through the NFT world. People are kind of doing their own thing, and it feels a little more pure. But then, of course, if you're just looking at it from the surface level, it's going to look just as kind of boring and saturated as anything. You have to dig a little.
I know,
and that's anything worth looking at is you have to dig.
Yeah. That's another thing I always say. It's like it's frustrating because you have to get in there and become part of the community in a way, at least follow and talk to these people to get a sense of what it's really like in there. And it's like a whole other world. It's totally different. Yeah.
And my work sometimes is I'm not someone who is personally like gender non-binary, but it comes also a little bit like I was saying, like a gender, like being kind of gender fluid or embracing feminine, masculine, and, you know, genderless identities kind of like follow suit in the work I'm making. Because again, it's like, and this isn't necessarily what you're saying, but a lot of people's reactions to NFTs are also like, well, it's only tech bros and guys.
Right. Yeah. You're like the opposite of a tech bro.
Yeah. I mean, I always joke, like, I bought a pair of Nikes and I do crypto. I'm a tech bro. But what I was trying to say is, I don't know. I feel like for me, in this moment, it's kind of funny talking to you. You're like, well, galleries and NFTs. And I'm like thinking like, I don't even know what I'm doing really right now. Like I really want to get more into animating, which is cool with the NFT world.
Oh yeah. Imagine your stuff animated. That would be awesome.
I think it would be cool. And you know, Nathan and I like to, especially Nathan likes to fiddle around with music. So it'd be cool to like add music to the NFTs. And
it's so exciting. That's what I keep telling people too. It's like artistically, it's so creatively stimulating, and with all the potential of all the things you can do. It's
I mean, people don't even realize that you can use like physical art as NFTs.
Yeah.
So
they don't know anything about it.
They don't have anything bad. People are concerned. They're going to figure out more about it. And what. But yeah, coming from with me, I've just gotten nothing but support in the NFT Twitter world.
Right.
From the people. The people are so sweet, and they're like, this is shocking, but that's okay.
Yeah. That's such a big part of it, is the community. Yeah. Another thing that never gets mentioned in these negative articles, never ever do they say how amazing the community and how helpful and supportive And, some people buy the work because they just want to support the artist. There's like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's
Which is
amazing.
what's cool about the Twitter Spaces is you actually get to physically talk to people, which is so much more stimulating than just, I'm sure if you were having that debate or argument you were having on Facebook.
Oh
verbally,
yeah, it would be a whole different.
Completely different.
Definitely.
It probably wouldn't have felt as hostile. It would have probably been a little bit more, you would both been able to understand each other.
Definitely.
Better.
Yeah. It's a way better way of communicating than posting comments.
People might see my work and be like, whoa. But a lot of times people who know me, I feel like it's kind of like a package deal almost. Like you kind of have to know me to know my art, to get where I'm coming from. Like not just like, let's shove a dick in it. It's like it's much more thoughtful than that. Even if I don't necessarily have a plan or a reason necessarily behind it. Like I kind of, I'm sure you do this too. Like you're like, oh, I finished a piece. Let's make up a reason why I did this.
Yeah, well, that's the fun. To me, that's kind of the fun of creating from your subconscious is that to me, it's not so much let's make up why I did it as much as figure out why I did it. You know what I mean? And trace it, because you can trace elements like you're saying. Your brother was saying, oh, I could see the influence of these animated, shows and stuff like this.
Yeah,
it's interesting and fun, and it's actually a really cool way of self-reflecting and understanding yourself by kind of figuring your artwork out.
It's so pure. It's such a like insider's guide to your brain that we don't get to look in there. So this is such a pure way, which is why I find it so sad when, even if I ever feel influenced, it's like, oh, I should probably be doing something like that. It's like, no, do whatever you want to do, because you're the only person, like even people listening like to this right now, and if they don't necessarily find themselves to be an artist, the thing is anything you do, if you do it authentically and from your own brain and like you just have fun, is only unique to you. You're the only one that can make that.
100%.
It's beautiful. Everyone is an artist. Everyone can do this. It's not some like, and that's where like I don't think art school for me really would play a role, because I don't necessarily personally believe that you have to be technically talented to be talented.
Right.
You can have it both ways. If you're lucky, you can have both. If you're driven and disciplined, you can learn how to have both, or at least the technical side of things. But you really only you can like hone in, like you're saying, like meditating. I feel like I do meditate when I'm purely creating.
Yeah. It's a meditative state for sure. Creating artwork.
I just wish everyone would just make art.
Well, that's another thing about the world would be a better place. That this was brought up, I don't know, on one of the podcasts. I don't remember which one, talking about NFTs, of course, but someone was mentioning how I think it was Exulo. He was mentioning, oh yeah, it was Exulo. He was talking about how one of his collectors was so inspired by collecting his work that he started creating artwork himself and making NFTs, and like just because as a fun satisfying thing to do with your life, something an enriching thing you could have, an added little enrichment you could have in your life is creating artwork.
Yeah, and the art world, I feel like you can never have too many. You can never have too many good movies. You can never have too many paintings. Like you're not gonna come in on my I'm not gonna feel threatened. It's just like, because I mean personally, like I love thousands of different art pieces. Like I couldn't just pick one that's like, this is my favorite. It's like, no, I like so many different styles and interpretations that I just wish more people felt inspired. And anytime anyone ever says that to me, because it does happen a lot, people say like, you've really inspired me to draw, or really inspired me to feel more comfortable with X, Y, and Z. It's like, God, that is worth so much more than like any dollar amount I've ever made on a piece. Like I'm just here doing my stupid thing, and if you see it and feel anything, like that is so enriching to me. Even if you look at it and you're like, fucking gross, what is wrong with this person? Like that's a reaction, and I want you to have it. I'm not I'm not offended by anyone's interpretation or reactions to the work I make, which I think comes also from, I don't really take myself that seriously,
Mhm.
which I think is that kind of part of the charm of the work I do, not to, say that in such a, but I don't really take myself that seriously. And I am a little self-conscious, but I think that's okay to be like, take away the ego from the art in a sense and just be really vulnerable in that.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to stop. I don't really know what I'm doing right now necessarily. I'm oil painting, I'm doing NFTs. Those are animating. Those are kind of like my main focuses. But
You're being an
yeah,
artist.
yeah, I mean, I like really want to make clothing too, and just, I would just do all of it. Why
Yeah.
not? You're only living on this life once. You might as well make some weird shit happen.
Well
You know?
said. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's great. Yeah. Yeah. The last time we'll wrap it up because it's getting we're at over an hour and a half, I think. But and I won't mention NFTs anymore, but I will say this one last thing is it's as a support mechanism for artists such as yourself, it's kind of perfect, as there's so many artists I meet where it's like, and ones that haven't done it yet, and I'm like, dude, you have no idea, there's this thing sitting here, this could be supporting, because like I said, a lot of artists don't have, for whatever reason, they're not making it in the gallery scene for a number of reasons. There's a lot of different reasons. Some people like to do all these different styles. Some people don't like to, can't dealing with people. There's all kinds of reasons, but their artwork is good. And it's like, and or like the Exulos guy who was like, he can make a piece of art and put it on the blockchain, and it's like cool for him, as a guy who's not an artist. And that's like, isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I
And
mean,
that's like, it's great. It's so
like
good
you're
for
saying,
humanity.
in a sense, like I know the NFT crypto world is more male, not kind of male dominated, which is
Yeah, it
fine.
is. It is.
But people don't realize too that the patriarchy exists. It's not like every man. There's like a collection of people controlling what you can and can't see, which is what so drives me crazy about like censorship stuff. Is it's like, for me personally, I have demand. People want to see my work.
Mhm.
That's touching to me. But things, social media platforms like Twitter are now suggesting that like you can't see this.
Right.
They're
Yeah. And
they're basically telling people what they can and can't enjoy and like. And that kind of follows suit too with like what you're saying in the NFT world. The potential and the possibilities are so much greater, and you also get to kind of curate and pick and discover and support organically. Almost, it's not going to be like
yeah,
this forever, because it's, it always is developing, and people, like I said, like to
changing. Yeah.
change, and there's going to be ways that people are going to muck it up. But coming from like the male gaze of things and the work that I do, I think it's just like a fascinating world that I had something to say about.
Well, I was going to say, just the idea of you having the issue of getting censored. It's like, where else could you go except the
Honestly,
blockchain?
at this point, it's like OnlyFans, Pornhub. I mean,
Yeah,
I have a Patreon so that it's like people wanted to see. I'm gonna get more into having a newsletter.
I have a Patreon too, and it's like they're hard to get people to pay $1 a month.
$1, yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
so just as an artist who's doing controversial work that gets banned sometimes, it's like, okay, the blockchain's here. This is the place it's perfect for you in that way. It's like you always will have that. They need to put the Twitter like platforms on there though, so that you still can't get
Yeah.
blocked from telling people that you have work on the blockchain is the problem,
Well, we're a very interesting country. We have a lot of hypocrisies, a lot of loopholes being made all the time. It's kind of just in the I'm a blood red American and full of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
It just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
But it's, like what that person was saying that you said was interpreting the work. Sure, you have people like the Kardashians who are portrayed and following suit on this very like male-centered idea of sexuality, beauty, and what they expect. That of course, they're getting famous from sex tapes and explicit content and whatever. And the thing is that they should be able to do whatever they want.
Right.
That's not the issue. The issue is then they turn around and look at someone like me who's expressing their own femininity, their own, like I was saying, like I do push boundaries with gender like fluidity. I'm not like, I identify as a woman, but I definitely embrace and think that that destroying some of the gender norms that we have in our society is really crucial to forming a more socially aware, conscious society. And there's a lot of pushback with that because it falls suit on their male gaze. Like we have a lot of these trans bills being placed in all these like states.
It's insane.
And it's disgusting. It's terrifying.
It's horrible.
Terrifying.
It's just, at my age, you're just like, it's just there's so much stupidity.
Yeah.
It's been going on for I started paying attention in the 80s when I was like a teenager, and it's just like, it's just been getting worse and worse in that way, that stupidity, kind of like things that don't make sense, that are just unfair and stupid. And it's such a mess. But yeah, I agree with you.
It comes from a place of people feeling like their power and authority is being threatened, which is kind of where I was getting at.
Right.
When you
and it probably is, which is why, it really is, because it's changed. People's attitudes about these things are changing. So they're like,
people are becoming open-minded, and that terrifies, Christians, and this terrifies this, old, mentality. And you also can't really fault some of these horrible people for feeling the way they do, as they've been conditioned and brainwashed in their own societies on those values, which is why it's so important now that we just not censor, like even censoring like the most horrible things. I don't believe in censorship in any way, unless it's like personally attacking someone and harming them. Right. I don't think, like, if you see something that's so horrible, we should have the social consciousness to not engage. And I think that should be our own form of punishment, to just like that away. It just gives more power to someone else who just doesn't agree with like me and the work that I do. They're like, well, I don't agree with this. Why aren't you you're allowing this? And so it's like, now I'm aligned with like terrorism and some of the worst things. Right. It's like, it's all just lumped in, because you have to basically appeal to everyone who is going to be offended by anything. And when you get to that kind of place where you're censoring absolutely everything because you're trying to be so, what is that?
Yeah, that's
what is that? Where does that?
It's unsustainable, for one thing. It's like, you can't.
The art that you do, or like demonic, strange monsters, could be put into a category of like 100%. Demonic, anti-Christian, and they could be censoring you. Totally. And skulls, like the wording that they used when they censored me was like, you can't have violence, or I can't remember, but it was something along the line of like death or anything. It's like, well, that takes away skulls, that takes away, like, you're talking about like the occult. Yeah. This backlash is just going to get bigger if we're not paying more attention. Yeah. Like I was saying, people are these authorities are feeling threatened because they don't have control over it. And that's where we want them. Right. We want them to feel threatened. Of course, they're going to try everything they might to keep us from doing it, but we just have to keep being resilient, which is why it's so sad that so many artists are against this crypto thing, it's like I feel like they're being brainwashed by the very same people who are also like decentralizing their viewpoints on everything that they do. And it's scary. It's a scary place to not have your own viewpoints and your own opinions and interests. But that's all I really have to say on that. I mean, and it could be partially my rebellious nature to identify in my own way of my own way of being a girl in this world is like, I don't do anything for any guy. I don't do anything like purely my own self for me. And the art's the same. Like I'm not doing anything for anyone else.
Right.
Which is not a very inherent female trait. Like female traits are much more centered towards giving. And give into a something that we've been conditioned to think that we should be giving.
Yep. To dudes. And again, like I'm not anti-dude. I hate this mentality of like all men are pigs. I know. It's like, that's the thing. It's like, it's so fucked up now because it's like, it really is like, it's descending into chaos everywhere. Everything is falling apart.
Well, the same people who are saying fuck all men are the same people who are saying fuck NFTs. You're like, wait.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. It's exactly. That's the thing. And it's like, it's so, everything's so mixed up. There's really no, and it's all, I've just come to the conclusion that it's going to keep getting more and more chaotic. I don't think it's a bad thing either. I think it's like a natural thing that is part of the process of things, humanity going the way it's going to go. And
it's like an ecosystem that's burning itself up, or like a forest,
right? Because it's overpopulated, or because it's got something out of balance, so it's going to correct, and then it's going to
rebirth.
Yeah, and it's going to be painful, and but it's natural. Everything's natural that happens. Everything that exists, even toxic waste, is coming ultimately from nature in this weird roundabout way through
these tornado alley is shifting, and now I'm in the crossfires of tornadoes on top of hurricanes and flooding, and there's termite swarms here too,
oh my god, no. It sounds terrible.
Like if there's a certain time of year where if you have like any crack open in your door or window or something, like just termites are just gonna like
my god,
and just be disgusting. It's wild. And there's alligators. You can't like go in the water. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's cool. Like I feel like in some ways I should be taking it in and being like, this is really an inspiring place, because I love like hostile ecosystems and environments, because I like put them in my art a lot. But I don't know. I was just saying, like, that you can't fault a tornado, because that's nature probably trying to just be like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. You guys are screwing everything up.
Yeah. I was just the point I was making was like, I've sort of come to the conclusion that everything is so chaotic, and it's going to be more chaotic, that you can't navigate it through traditional methods, which would be like having stability, and you can know that like if you do this you're going to get that, and if you do that you're going to, so you can kind of navigate the world because it's relatively stable. It's so unstable now that I think the only way to adapt to it is to become more intuitive, and to try and, which is goes into the why meditation is also even more important now, is because you kind of it allows you to get in touch with your intuition about things, because there's no other, if you've got nothing to hold on to and no way to, you're not prepared for anything, because it's all so weird and crazy. It's like all you really have is your kind of this inner instinct, or intuition is the only way I could put it, just sort of like an inner, the inner voice that tells you your creative impulse, or whatever you want to call it, and
I think too that exact concept I like to play in with the work too, when things are coming out of, snakes are coming out of things, or there's multiple heads forming, and it's in that similar vein of like what you're saying. There's so much in us that we either ignore or you know,
Totally.
maybe we don't embrace it in a very positive like very helpful way.
Right.
And I think that just plays a big part too in who I am and the work I try and the work I make, is like we're muffling our individuality
Right.
to, you know, form into this cookie cutter existence that still very much exists. Even now, being alternative, there's a cookie cutter
I
way of
know. Being
alternative.
alternative. I know. It's
So
there's no way out of it. It's like there's no, it always does this.
yeah,
It's like
God,
the
I
only,
was at Whole Foods recently, and I was like, I feel like I was just like freaking out. I was like, who are these people? Did they just like read a magazine article on how to be cool? Like, what is happening? Maybe I'm just a total bitch, but like, shit. I was like, who are you? You look like so silly. I don't know what you're trying to do. And then it's like, okay, well, who am I that thinks I'm so cool? But you know, it was just,
well,
like, what is
that's
happening?
but that's the thing is, that's what bothers me, you know, because I'm like a liberal type of person. I'm more, you know, I'm kind of liberal. So to
I'm a
see,
little liberal.
well, they probably call me a shit lib now.
What is that?
That's like a term they call people that are not far left enough but are liberal. So it's like if you don't follow the party line, then you're a shit lib. I think. I don't know. I'm like out of touch, so I'm kind of out of touch. But
More in touch with me. I didn't know there was a new term.
it's probably come and gone already by this
Right.
point. But
I still thought I was a libtard.
yeah.
That's a bad thing to say, I guess.
It's just, what bothers me is that's what bothers me though, is seeing everybody parroting the same talking points on either side. And it's like, I like the truth is people are unique and people have different views than everybody else.
Mhm.
And some things line up and some things don't. And it's cool. That's the good thing. And it irritates me to just hear it's like people aren't thinking and they're not being themselves, is what it feels like to me. They're not being authentic. They're being just like following the party line. It's like, I agree with all kinds of, you know, I agree with a lot of stuff that's really far left, but some of it I don't, you know, it's just like, because I'm not that way. I'm unique, just like you. It's like everybody's got, but to just like automatically follow it because that's the way it is. Either way, I find really irritating. And
well, that's the fear of cancel culture, is that we've designed a new rhetoric for what is and isn't deemably cancel culture worthy. You know, so it's like, if you say this one thing, well, then you're clearly problematic. It's like, whoa, well, what if we create a dialogue or something?
Right. Let's talk about it. It's okay. You know, it's a social media phenomenon, I think, is what's caused this like black and white, no discussion. You know?
Yeah. And it does again, it kind of like puts a shadow over the truly heinous, truly at fault, you know, players in this horrible, terrifying game we're playing, that we're just like pointing at each other. So you have people on the liberal side of thinking yelling at other people who have liberal sides of views, and they're like, well, you're the problem, clearly, because your liberalism isn't this liberalism. It's like, well, wait a minute, you have this whole other side of things that's, and I wouldn't even go as far as to say that any of us small potatoes are doing any harm at all. People who like Trump, they're not doing anything. They're just dumb. People that Trump did something wrong, you know? So be mad at him, be mad at like the administration that formed under him and is still like controlling.
Or or even you can say the whole, you know, system that let these people down and took their jobs away and sent them away. And so, you know, they're angry because they don't have jobs anymore. And, you know, of course there's drugs in the community, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, you know, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I didn't like get that broad, but yeah, I was more so just meaning like we just are pointing the fingers at one another and screaming, as opposed to finding like common ground.
Yeah.
and it's just very distancing, which is a big part too why I'm having a hard time. I feel like I'm having a hard time forming friendships as an adult is a lot to do with, I'm just like, I'm exhausted with this concept of following whatever rule, like rubric supposed to be following. Like, I don't know what the fuck. And I'm not going to just like have you shove something in my face and be like, believe this.
Right.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I need a reason for it. But I mean, I have people always, when I get censored or anything, they're like, well, what did you expect?
Right.
And I'm like,
to not be censored.
I was expecting maybe a little more sympathy from you for starters.
Right.
But yeah, I'm like, well, you're just like shrugging, like, well, what'd you expect? This is just because you're not following the rules. It's like, well, what rules are there?
Right.
This isn't illegal. I'm not doing anything illegal.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's the internet is, I feel like the internet is doing a forest fire type thing right now. We kind of have a flame of burn, and sometime soon, I hope that it just becomes ash and it's reborn, and more people like follow suit with the NFTs. I'm really hopeful that an NFT platform will actually adopt more of a social media type system, so that, I don't even have to, try and be really interesting and cool as a person. I can just be like, here's the art I post, because that the whole social, like the whole personality aspect of social media is really the exhausting part.
Yeah.
But I think Object is kind of trying to do that. They have a follow like feature, or I think they have a follow feature. They don't have a like feature.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't have like a chatting. It seems like that would be such a huge thing to be able to like talk directly on the platforms, but I'm sure it's coming. It's got to be coming.
Yeah, it's got to be coming. I'm actually I was gonna say that whenever this podcast episode drops, I don't know how you do that, but I was gonna mint on Foundation the same day.
Oh, cool. That'll be Wednesday.
Okay, so then I was gonna have my Genesis piece. I don't know if that would be okay.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
coordinate that a little.
Now we're announcing it now. And
yeah,
so
right. I'm like, I hope that's okay. We're live.
No, it's cool. It's like we're announcing it, so people, when they listen, they'll hear it hopefully on Wednesday, and then you'll have your first piece drop, your Genesis on Foundation,
on ETH. Yeah, my first ETH.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be through Foundation.
Excellent.
But I was like, well, that sounds like a good opportunity, I guess.
Absolutely.
I was like, take a day. I guess I could do that. But yeah, I'm excited and. Shit, I don't know.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm just honestly, it's like whatever keeps me buying oven pizzas, and I get to sit and watch stupid movies on my VHS player. I'm like, I'm boring. I mean, I'm extroverted in a way, but maybe I'm not anymore. I don't know what extrovert means.
Yeah, maybe we have different definitions of extrovert.
Yeah, I mean, I need the kids to come up with this new term. Because clearly I don't like going to parties and stuff.
Yeah, you're some kind of strange combination.
I'm a mutant. I think everything. I love that. I guess that's another thing. If I wanted to add to my art, if you're curious, before we wrap this up, I kind of am into mutations, cross pollination, cross interbreeding. Obviously, like. Not in a gross furry kind of way, but in like it's interesting. Like I have like flowers having sex with women and like creating, I don't know, it doesn't make sense, but it kind of falls into this line of pollution in my head. Where it comes from is this, we're just like destroying this planet so vigorously that it's going to inevitably find a way to combat what we've done to it. And sometimes it kind of comes out in a form for me is, I mean, I don't think it's intentional, but I do definitely find that interesting to me, what the world is going to be like once humans are kind of gone.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean,
or humans are here, but we've, mutated so much, or we've evolved so much to it's unrecognizable, or society, or I don't know, X, Y, and Z.
You're talking my language. I mean, this is kind of what I paint all the time. It's like
Yeah.
mutants, that's what they are, these characters. So I'm with you there.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Or like, like other planets, what they probably have, there's no way there's not a planet out there that has a similar feel and picture to what we have, but it's completely different.
Yeah, if space is infinite, then there's got to be everything somehow.
Yeah.
If it's that big, there's got to be every possibility.
And I know it's basic bitch of me, but that movie Fantastic Planet, I just love. For anyone who hasn't seen it, that French,
I could totally see that. I could see that as an influence for sure.
Yeah, I saw that for the first time when I was a teenager, and I didn't really think much about it because I didn't watch it that often, but I definitely I feel like I watched it recently. I was like, oh, I feel like I was definitely inspired by it.
It's funny. It wouldn't occur to me until as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, I can see that.
Oh, yeah. So I have a TV that's like, 12 by 12 inches. It has a built-in VCR, and I collect VHS tapes. So like,
oh, wow.
I pretty much just rewatch Coen Brothers movies, or Alien and The Thing and The Fly, or like Absolutely Fabulous, Harold and Maude. I feel like
Harold and Maude's great.
Awkwardly plays a role into what I do. I'm obsessed with like old David Attenborough nature documentaries. So I kind of feel like all of that sort of plays a small role in.
Yeah.
I mean, The Thing definitely. The Thing is just like
so cool.
Any good practical effect, I'm like, oh God, it's so good.
Yeah, I know. Those were the days back when you could make a movie like that.
Yeah, exactly.
All practical.
Now I don't even see new movies now. I didn't even see the new movie. I was like, no, I'm not.
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it yet, just because I haven't had time to sit and focus on it. I want to give it a shot. I got really good reviews.
Yeah, I'm probably still not going to watch it, but I mean, my TV is this big, so it's
right. You better wait until you get a bigger TV.
It gets lost on me. I was such a brat even about the new Dark Crystal movie or TV shows. Like, even though a lot of it was practical effects, and I love that they paid artists to do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just gonna watch the movie on repeat. Why would I watch this show?
I actually never watched it. I forgot to watch it because I was a big Dark Crystal fan, and I had a chance. I was going to work on it. They wanted me to work on it, but I had to choose my own. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So, but yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I feel like if I had children or something, I would definitely put that on for them.
I should watch. I wonder if my granddaughters have seen it. They probably did.
They probably love it. It is really beautiful. The sad part is, though, if you've seen the movie, you know that all the Gelflings die.
Right. Yeah.
And the whole show is about the Gelflings. But the Skeksis are always cool.
Yeah.
And like I said, most of it is practical effects, so that's pretty rare.
Yeah, I know a bunch of people that worked on it, so I'm sure it's amazing. Sure.
But yeah, I'm a big practical effects fan, big Lord of the Rings person. I will watch that shit on repeat, even though that's CG. I feel like there was a certain moment CG was good.
It can be good. You can do it. You could, I always say Pan's Labyrinth is a really great mixture of the two.
Yeah.
With the Pan character with his feet, the weird feet. It's like you can use CG and it'll work just fine. It's just when they choose it over practical and practical is gone, it's like it's just not the smart way to do it. No. You know what it is? It's because they want to change their mind, the producers and stuff. They want to change their mind at the last minute, and so they can make changes digitally more easily than stuff that's been shot that's practical, I think.
Gotcha.
But
well, they got to know that doesn't look very good.
Yeah, I know. Nobody likes it. I don't understand why they do. It's like everyone complains about it.
I watched Rain of Fire the other night. You seen that?
No.
It's with Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey. It's a dragon movie.
Is it new or
Made in
old?
2002.
Oh,
So
no, never
it's
seen it.
actually, I put it on expecting like to just laugh my ass off and watching a really bad movie, kind
Mhm.
of like Jurassic Park or something. You're just like, this is a bad, but it was actually pretty good. The practical effects mixed in with the dragon effects were pretty all right. I mean, don't watch it really. It's not like good movie. I was just, if you had seen it, I was pleasantly surprised by its quality of movie, but
Huh.
I don't know. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just something I did.
Talking movies, talking
Yeah, I mean,
practical effects.
It's a whole other podcast. Honestly, I could talk weird, funny movies forever.
Oh yeah, it's funny. That's the best performing podcast I've done is one where Mike, my old co-host, Mike and I talk about bad movies that we love, like really
Oh my
bad
God,
movies.
An episode of the Dark Arts.
Yeah, Dark Art Society. Yeah,
I'll have to
it's a
listen to it.
really old one. I don't even remember what we talked about, but because I like bad movies, like bad horror movies, like really bad ones are great. I just saw one on YouTube the other day from the 60s, the late
Oh, yeah.
60s, called Eegah, Eegah, about like a caveman in
Okay.
modern. It's so good. It's so bad. Oh man, just the opening sequence is amazing. So bad. It's like
All right.
it's like 14-year-old kid. It looks like a 14-year-old boy shot it on 16 millimeter.
Amazing.
You'll love it if you like bad stuff.
I'll have to give that one a try. Have you
Eegah.
seen Wolf Cop?
No, I haven't seen Wolf Cop.
I don't know if it's necessarily a horror movie. It's pretty awful.
Yeah, I like
pretty
bad.
cool.
I just like bad movies in general. Really bad.
Yeah.
But they can't be bad intentionally. They have to be where they were trying to make a good or trying to hit a certain level, but they just didn't get it.
Yeah.
They just couldn't do it. Those are what I like.
They tried with the whole Sharknado, and it's like,
yeah, it's
the bong octopus versus the whatever. You're like, what the fuck are you? You are trying way too hard.
yeah. It doesn't do it for me if they're trying and they are parodying it. Kind of, it's like it's got to be someone that thinks they're making a good movie and it came out terrible. Those are the good ones.
Well, with Wolf Cop, there's like, if I'm remembering it correctly, there's like a really awkward, funny sex scene with the Wolf Cop and some babe. I don't know. It's like practical effects in a sense. Maybe don't watch it. Don't watch it, viewers or listeners. I don't know. Thing. I can't remember. I don't watch too many bad horror movies. I like bad movies, but I don't just exclusively watch horror movies.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot in my heart for bad horror movies, but I'll watch any bad movie.
I feel like for me, a lot of, unfortunately, coming from like, I'm a little sensitive to some of the like violence against women in some of the like old horror movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So like I'll be like, oh God, you just ruined it. It was
right.
and you like had to make this scene happen and it was unnecessary.
Someone
to make a like compilation of the best scenes of horror movies that are like, or just like movies that cut out all of the like weird rapey shit and just be like, this is the revised. That's the kind of censorship I'm like, I think that's okay. I think that out of all of it, I think that sexual assault in movies and never needs to happen. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that's unnecessary, but that's from my own standpoint. I guess I can't scream censorship and no censorship.
Right.
Like,
that's the thing. It's like, as soon as you say that, there's going to be someone that is like, this is integral to the movie because whatever,
I would agree that I don't want to get too much into this, but sometimes scenes can be, I guess it's just the lack of, it's like, not to say that it's ever tasteful, but there can be elements of like Belladonna of Sadness is like a really, really good movie. It's another like 70s Japanese animation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful. And it's just, the imagery is really great, but it has some explicit scenes and I wasn't offended.
I was like, this sucks for her
Right.
in the movie. But yeah, no, so maybe I take that back. There are elements, but again, that's another one if you haven't seen it. It's a really beautiful animation.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm not really a huge anime fan necessarily. I feel like I'm as much of an anime, but it's Japanese, but it's not anime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like there's a lot of like watercolor
Oh, cool.
visuals, and it's just really beautiful. It's kind of similar in a way to that what is it, Princess Kaguya or something that came out recently that was a Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
Or I guess it was Miyazaki, it wasn't Ghibli, and it was kind of like
Right.
a more watercolory illustrative animation, which was really beautiful.
What's it called?
I'm gonna butcher the name, I'm so white, but it was like Princess Kaguya.
No, the other one you're talking about.
Oh, Belladonna of Sadness.
Okay, Belladonna of Sadness.
Yeah. Again, it's like, trigger warning. It is, but it plays into the occult, and like there's Satan and witchcraft shit, and it's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. But
I'll check it out.
Ad libs for, I don't know if the tangent, sorry.
That's okay. No, that's great. Hey,
I'm just like blah blah blah.
The longer the episodes are, the better it is for people. Love the long episodes, so I'm all about.
Yeah, I mean, I love podcasts. I'll just sit and listen all day. So, I mean, your podcast is great. I love all podcasts that like talk to artists, and you get to like a little inside scoop.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes in the sense of people's brains. And I think there's like a vulnerability too to this. You really get a funny window kind of into the artists, especially like on your podcast. If you're saying people feel comfortable, I forgot we were recording. So I mean,
there you go. I told you.
Exactly. I think it's a cool little snippet into it's not so manicured. You're not getting like
I wouldn't have
layout.
I wouldn't have any interest in doing that.
Yeah, it's with podcasts where it's fine if that's what you want to, but when they have too manicured of questions for you, I'm like, God, I don't.
No, I'm all about the tangents and just the weird places the conversations go. I think that's why people like the podcast too, is because the one thing I hear more than anything else is like, it sounds like I was just sitting in a room talking with you guys and listening while you guys are having a conversation, which is the coolest compliment,
Yeah.
So I want to keep it that way. Just keep it free flowing, and it's more real to get the real shit that way.
I mean, that's so funny. I wonder if you ever have like any interest in, I don't even know. I think this kind of falls into the like Twitter Spaces world, where it's like if you did like a Dark Arts Society interview podcast-esque thing on the Twitter Spaces where like other viewers or listeners could join in and then ask questions and kind of be more involved. I definitely think that Twitter Spaces seems a little bit more of the world of, maybe this is what it is. It's like the extroverted internet human or something, like people that want to engage and be a part of something and talk and ask like something or whatever. But I think Twitter Spaces actually allows that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I mean, I personally never like to join spaces where it's just two people talking necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I would. It's kind of like a podcast.
Yeah, and then but I mean, it's a good. You need like a base to start with, and maybe he could be an interview that turns it into. Because I just did one that was about marketing, and it was like me and a collector and an interviewer, but then we let people talk, and it was just a kind of a free for all, and everyone was chatting. It was cool,
Yeah.
So you kind of
start. I love that. I love that. Twitter's allowing too, like you're saying, there's a topic. People like you're saying marketing.
Yeah.
And people are learning a lot. When I was taken off of Twitter, my biggest bummer was because it was like threatening, like, don't even try and make another account because we'll just ban that one too.
Yeah. That's what Nathan was saying.
It was like, well, my name is just dead, essentially. I was like, if I wanted to make a new account, I was going to have to do all this stuff and just pretend I wasn't me, basically.
Yeah.
And I was like, darn, I really am going to miss the spaces and the people I've connected with through my spaces. Is going to be so hard to like navigate back through all of that.
Yeah. So everybody listening, don't put anything slightly controversial on your banner or avatar
Or your profile picture.
picture. Everything else you can post all kinds of. I've seen so much horrible shit on there that I was shocked that you got.
Or in your bio, any swear words, explicit content in
the bio.
In the bio.
Oh, even in text form. Okay.
Yeah, even in text form.
Yeah, that's a good public service, so that never happens to anybody.
Yeah, I guess it happens pretty often to artists that do anything with drawings of boobs.
Right.
I've heard other artists.
Yeah.
Because nipples.
God forbid.
Nipples and domestic terrorism, they're the same thing.
Well, that's a good point to end on. That's very quotable. Well, thanks so much for coming on. It was really great talking to you. And I know everybody's gonna love it. It's a great episode, another great episode. So I mean, tell people where they can find you. I'll put it in the text, but can you tell people where to find your work? Or
I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I have a website, bronwynlorelei.com. And that's my name, Bronwyn Lorelei. And on Twitter, you can find my objects page where I sell my NFTs there. And like I said, I'll be minting to Foundation on Wednesday.
Yes.
At what time? But at some time I will do that. And I'm probably gonna. Yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me. I have a Patreon.
Oh, right, your Patreon too.
Yeah, I'm not too active on it. If it's kind of more of as like you appreciate what I do on the other platforms and you understand that it's like work.
Right.
Like I have a $2 tier and like a $5 tier. It's really not that much. Like I offer sales or exclusive content or because I do still have to censor on most like Instagram and Twitter. So it's kind of a way, and I'm shadow banned on Twitter. Oh, this is another thing I want to add. Sorry. So if you're on Twitter and you can't see my content, it's probably because I've been flagged already as a sensitive content creator.
Oh.
So you like go into your settings on the laptop, on like a computer on the desktop, and change your settings to turn off whatever sensitive on. So like if you have that turned on, you won't see me at all.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm so shadow banned that it's hard to actually look me up in the Twitter search engine. I don't even know. Like someone was like, I only found you because someone retweeted it. Like you don't come up in the search engine.
That sucks. Well,
it's crazy. Yeah, they really just are like, I swear someone's really pissed off by me. Like
someone doesn't like snakes coming out of girls' butts, I guess.
I mean, peaches and oranges. But yeah, anyway, I think that's mostly where you can find anything that I do.
Cool. So it's BRONWYNLOR. I'm gonna try to do it myself. RRLORE. I'm sorry, I lost.
ELEI.
ELEI.
Yeah, Lorelei.
LORELEI.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people don't like to look in the text, so if they're hearing it on the podcast, they can like look you up. That's why I wanted you to spell it.
What's funny, I'll say this when we're sorry. So these are my birth names. Bronwyn's my middle name. My mom wanted it to be she would tell me growing up that fairies told her to name me this. And I believed her. But Bronwyn means fair breasted. And Lorelei is like the sirens that call men to drown them, like sailors. So I also just kind of feel like it was inevitable that I was going to make the art I do and be censored for titties on the internet.
Right.
My name means white titty destroyer of men.
That's even a better point to end on.
There we go.
That was perfect. Yeah, that's an unusual name. I was like, when we talked on Twitter Spaces, I was like, is it Lorelei? Like, some people put their first name last sometimes. I've had people on the podcast like Satin Vague, that one Sculpt Digital guy. He has his name as Vague Satin, and it like, so now when I hear an unusual name, I'm not sure what goes first. So that is an unusual name though, but that's from a marketing standpoint, it's good to have an unusual name.
I think it's gotten me far in life.
Yeah, it makes you stand out.
Yeah, because I needed help in that department.
Yeah, right. It's perfectly appropriate for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for taking the time out and chatting. It was super fun. And now you have to just say goodbye to the audience.
Goodbye, audience.
Goodbye,
Thank you.
audience.